Why silver now? So in this video I'm going to go ahead and talk about why people should be getting into silver right now. And then after this we'll go ahead and follow up with another video about modern collecting methods as well. So to start off with, why now? Well, since 2008 I'm sure most of you are aware that the economy really has not recovered. Like many of you, I went through that with my family, and I saw how it affected us. We went from a middle-class family to a lower-class family pretty quickly during that time. And I remember all the suffering that that caused and stress. And really, honestly, it prevented me, as I was in college during that time period, from coming out into a strong job market. So I'm sure as many millennials are keenly aware, there just really isn't as much of an earning potential as there used to be out there in the market. So it's really kind of hard even just to get ahead in any way, let alone have savings of any kind. And I know personally how that can go, especially with lower paying jobs, because I myself have worked an $8 an hour front desk job at a hotel with a college degree. So trust me when I say I definitely understand how tough it is out there. But through all of that, I've always tried to collect a little bit of silver, and the reason why is because the reason why I think everyone should be right now, and that is because it's something that can actually beat inflation. So if you're a person of history like I am, you could go ahead and study back throughout time and see that really gold and silver were kind of the currency exchange for thousands of years. They have a good accepted rate of being able to be produced, as well as they're pretty tangibly small in terms of weight to size, and they're just really good for being able to be used in exchange. And so that's oftentimes why they've become used for that throughout history. Unfortunately, because of the modern era and because of the growing debt really of the United States and the need to finance that, the dollar's been devalued over and over again to the point where really in the modern age there's no connection between a dollar and any real value of any kind. It's what we call a fiat currency. And that's kind of the world I was born into, was the world of fiat, and I'm sure it's the world that a lot of us live in. One where honestly, you see year after year prices of everything going up, even though the government says that there's less than 2% inflation. I mean, you see 3, 5, 6% inflation just in your favorite foods, let alone everything else that goes up in cost, let alone the fact that you have to own more stuff, like a cell phone or other really high-end tools that didn't exist before that you just basically need in order to succeed in the modern age. I mean, all that adds to the inflation. So really, there's no way to get ahead of it except for to do some sort of investment. And so a lot of people go into the stock market to make money, but the stock market is very volatile and very unpredictable. It's more or less a casino these days because of the rules that it runs by. And I'll definitely do an in-depth video about the history of gold and silver, as well as another one eventually that will be about the stock market, and we'll go into both those things. But essentially, it's a casino that is favoring the wealthy because they have the inside information to be able to leave it before something catastrophic happens. And so what oftentimes is the case is people, the average people, are the ones that lose inside the casino. One thing that I always want to get through to everyone is that money is not something that you can magically create more of through the stock market. What the stock market does is it speculates on the money that's currently available, and oftentimes that speculation creates the inflation. Money is never just magically created, it's exchanged. So whether it's from the Fed directly to the banks to investors like it is now, or if it were through more interdependent actual trade like it used to be. You know, it's just how it is. So why silver? If you're like me and you've lived poor your whole life, there's no way in hell you're ever going to be able to afford to get your hands on some gold. So your best option is to go into silver. It's always stayed pretty consistently in a decent price range, and it's always been extremely undervalued for two main reasons. So the first reason why silver is valuable is because silver is something that is used in a lot of industry. And in fact, if we move forward into the renewable energy deal that Biden is proposing, I predict that we're going to run into an age where silver will be used on a level never seen before. Let alone 5G also uses silver. Again, I can do a more in-depth video about all this in the future too. That'll get into those details and kind of give you a little bit bigger investment idea of what's happening. It is a material that's found in most mines. That's something that's really kind of unique about it. Like if you're doing copper mining, you might find some silver. If you're doing gold mining, you might find some silver. And it's not as scarce as gold by any stretch, but it is proportionately significantly more so than like magnesium or copper or titanium is. So it's definitely a more valuable resource. So why else you would like to do silver? Just because of the historical aspect that I spoke into earlier. It was used as currency. So unlike fiat, which is values based off of how much is on the market, and I'm sure a lot of you are aware the United States just printed 20% more to get through this current crisis. But all that politics aside, you can't print more silver. There's a set amount of it, just like there is gold, and so their value tends to hold. If it ever came to a point where a market completely crashed, where fiat was worthless, it would maintain its value. And we've seen this in history, which is the other lens of this channel that I'll get into and do more elaborate videos on in the future as well. If you look throughout time, like when Venezuela had its crashes, when Germany had its crashes, people really run into this very scary reality that their fiat is worth nothing. Sometimes you can see pictures in history of people literally wheeling barrels of it to a market to be able to purchase a few loaves of bread. In those times, silver and gold definitely do shine. And because this channel is not for rich people or for people that have actual investment assets, this is for people that just have a little bit of money to put aside each year to be able to secure their future. We will always be focusing on silver. So with that, those are the two reasons why now silver, and why I think people should start taking a few $100s and putting them aside each year so that they can try to at least have something for the future for themselves.